Despite winning an NBA championship and Olympic gold and multiple All-NBA selections, Jayson Tatum remains one of the most disrespected superstars in the NBA. The conversations around him aren't about how good he actually is, but rather about what he hasn't done. Instead of celebrating his impact on Boston's championship run in 2024, the media and fans focused more on Jaylen Brown winning Finals MVP and whether Boston should break up their duo, instead of appreciating Tatum's historic playoff run where he averaged 25 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 6.3 assists. The headlines focused on how he was benched for Team USA rather than the work he put in on the court. Even when Tatum set NBA records, he didn't get the recognition he deserved. He became the first player ever to score 50 plus points in the regular season, the playoffs, and the All-Star game in a single year. That level of consistency across different settings should have solidified his place as one of the best offensive players in the league. But instead, people debated whether his celebrations were corny rather than focusing on his production. Tatum's career has been defined by winning and excellence, yet he's rarely mentioned in discussions about the best player in the league. His numbers speak for themselves, but the perception never aligns with reality. Whether it's due to playing in a team-oriented system or simply because he doesn't have the flashiest playstyle, there's an undeniable bias against acknowledging his greatness. But how did this happen? Why does a 5-time All-Star, All-NBA first-team player, and NBA champion not get the same respect as other stars? To understand this, we have to go back to where it all began. Jayson Tatum's journey to the NBA wasn't one of instant superstardom, but one of consistent, undeniable improvement. As a high school player, he was one of the most sought-after prospects in the country, ranked 3rd overall in his class, and a 5-star recruit. His skill set was already polished. A smooth scorer with elite footwork, a strong mid-range game, and NBA-level shot creation. He was a natural-born bucket getter, drawing comparisons to Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. At Duke University, Tatum immediately made his presence felt, averaging 16.8 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. He was one of the best freshmen in college basketball, earning ACC All-Freshman Team and 3rd team All-ACC honors. His performances solidified him as a top NBA draft prospect, but even then, he wasn't seen as the best player in his class. The 2017 NBA draft was centered around Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball, with the Philadelphia 76ers making Fultz the clear number 1, 1st overall pick. But Danny Ainge and the Boston Celtics saw something others didn't. Instead of staying at number 1, Ainge traded down to the 3rd pick, believing that Tatum was the real gem of the draft. That gamble paid off instantly. Unlike most top 3 picks, Tatum wasn't sent to a rebuilding team. He was drafted to a Celtics team that was already competitive. This is one of the biggest reasons why his greatness has been overlooked. Because Boston was already winning, he wasn't seen as a player single-handedly transforming a franchise like Luka Doncic did in Dallas. Instead, people assumed he was simply a product of Boston's system rather than the future of the franchise. From the moment Tatum entered the league, he proved he was a high-level player. But instead of being seen as a rising superstar, he was treated like a good player on a good team. That perception has stuck with him ever since. His rookie season was historic. He averaged 17.7 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist in the NBA Summer League, showing flashes of the elite scorer he would become. As the season progressed, he became a crucial part of Boston's offense, earning Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month for December 2017. By the time the playoffs arrived, Tatum was already playing like a seasoned veteran. In his first ever playoff game, he posted a 19-point, 10-rebound double-double, and over the next few weeks, he kept breaking records. He scored 20-plus points in 5 straight playoff games, the first Celtics rookie to do so since Larry Bird in 1980. In the Eastern Conference Finals, he had 28 points in Game 1 against the 76ers and led the Celtics past them in 5 games. Boston ultimately lost to LeBron James and the Cavaliers, but Tatum had officially arrived. Yet, despite leading Boston to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals as a rookie, people still questioned his superstar potential. Because he played for a team with a strong core, many assumed he wasn't the main reason for Boston's success. The media placed players like Doncic, Ja Morant, and Zion Williamson ahead of him in terms of future stars, even though Tatum had already outperformed them in the playoffs. It was clear that no matter what he did, he would always have to prove himself more than others, and that frustration has been a driving force behind his career ever since. By 2020, it was obvious that Tatum wasn't just another good player. He was Boston's franchise cornerstone. The team was no longer defined by Kyrie Irving or Gordon Hayward. This was Tatum's team now, and he embraced that role. His scoring exploded, showing he wasn't just a volume shooter, but an efficient, dominant offensive force. He put up 39 points against the Hornets, followed by 41 against the Pelicans, making it clear he was ready for superstardom. His versatility on offense step back 3, elite mid-range game, improved finishing at the rim made him one of the league's toughest scorers to guard. Tatum made his first All-Star appearance in 2020, was named to the All-NBA third team, and led Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals again. This time, they lost to the Miami Heat, but Tatum averaged 26.5 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 6.3 assists, proving he was Boston's best player. Despite his success, the narrative around him was still that he wasn't quite on the level of Luka or Giannis. While Luka was praised for carrying Dallas, Tatum was often seen as just one piece of a larger puzzle. But as the 2021-22 season arrived, he was ready to change that perception for good. Tatum's next challenge was to prove he wasn't just a star, but a championship caliber player, and he did just that. The 2021-22 season was when Tatum finally silenced the doubter, at least temporarily. He led Boston to the NBA Final, beating Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Jimmy Butler along the way. His 46-point masterpiece in Game 6 against the Bucks was one of the most clutch performances of the decade. As he held the Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy, it seemed like his moment had arrived. But in the NBA Finals against the Warriors, everything collapsed. Tatum set a record for most turnovers in a single postseason, 100, and shot just 36% from the field in the final. His 12-point Game 6 performance sealed the Celtics' fate, and suddenly, the doubts were back. Instead of recognizing his incredible run to the finals, the focus was on his struggles in the biggest moment. Once again, success wasn't enough. It had to be perfect. The 2021-22 season was when Tatum finally silenced most of his doubters, at least for a moment. He had been working toward this moment his entire career, and this was the season where everything came together. Boston started the season slowly, leading to major doubts about whether Tatum and Jaylen Brown could work together as the team's long-term foundation. Many believed the Celtics needed to break up the duo because they had reached their ceiling. However, Tatum and the Celtics flipped the switch midway through the season and became one of the best teams in the NBA. Tatum's two-way dominance was on full display. His scoring was as elite as ever, but his playmaking and defensive versatility were just as impactful. The playoffs arrived, Tatum didn't just play well, he dominated. In the first round, he led the Celtics to a statement sweep of Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, locking up Durant on defense while also outscoring him. In the second round, he went head-to-head with Giannis Antetokounmpo, putting up 46 points in Game 6 to force a Game 7. Then, in the conference finals, he outlasted Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat in a grueling 7-game series, winning the first ever Eastern Conference Finals MVP award. At this point, it seemed like Tatum had finally arrived as a superstar. The Celtics were back in the NBA Finals for the first time since 2010, and all eyes were on Tatum to lead them to a championship. This was supposed to be his crowning moment, but instead, it became one of the most frustrating chapters of his career. Jayson Tatum's career has been defined by greatness and unfair expectation. He's won at every level, from being a high school phenom to an NBA champion, yet the narrative surrounding him never quite matches his accomplishments. Whether it's being overlooked for awards, criticized for his final struggles, or having his leadership questioned, Tatum has had to fight for the respect he deserves. What makes him special isn't just his scoring ability, but his complete all-around game. He's an elite two-way player, one of the best defenders among superstar scorers, and his playmaking has improved significantly over the years. He's been the best player on a championship team and continues to get better every season. So, how good is Jayson Tatum actually? The answer is simple. One of the best players in the NBA today. If his career so far is any indication, his story isn't finished. It's just getting started.